Hello, SMCORP. Thanks to be here at our first hybrid convention, SMCORP at Quebec City. And I'm with my first presentation, Andrew from the beginning. How are you?
Well, yourself, Hugo. Let's see. Thank you for having me.
I'm really happy. So we are glad to have our first event that we can include all of our participants from Ottawa, from Vancouver, from Halifax. So nice to be here. I know some of you are live and others will watch the show recorded. So thanks to be here. So first of all, Andrew, what are you talking with us today?
So I just want to say thank you for having us. I'll be taking you over the next 10, 15 minutes, very high level. TP-Link, what are we doing in the marketplace? Some of the innovation that we're bringing to the table, some of the disruptive products and solutions we have in marketplace, programs, benefits available to our partners across Canada. And on the splash page here on the first side of the presentation, this is something that really caught me off guard, Hugo, when I joined, looking at TP-Link's position in the marketplace. 10 years at #1 worldwide Wi-Fi vendor. I've worked at HP for 10 years. I've worked at Dell for 5. Majority of my time at HP was in the networking space. And so when you think about 10 years #1 Wi-Fi worldwide, it's surprising. And that stat is, if you want to toggle down, really as it relates to the consumer products, wireless products worldwide. But it's a differentiator when he talks about footing in certain accounts in a worldwide presence. So again, thank you guys for joining online and watching the recording. My name is Andrew Bateman. I'll be taking you through, over the next 10, 15 minutes, a little bit about the history of TP-Link. Some of the things that we do differently that I think is going to be important as you consider your business today. And today, it means a lot of things. We live in a world. We're living in a world of a pandemic. During a pandemic, we've seen the results and the demand across all products and services because of the pandemic. And so our unique makeup and where we're from lends itself to some advantages for yourselves and your customers. So I'll take you through that. So programs, benefits, and of course, questions if there are any. So again, talking to our global position of TP-Link, 170 countries worldwide, an enormous amount of products and volume sold into that space across the wireless platforms, and that includes your routers, standard home devices, all the way up to what I'll be talking to very shortly about is our Armada portfolio, and so. We're a very recognizable brand. If I polled the audience earlier today just by raising their hands, who's heard of TP-Link, who's selling TP-Link, who's bought TP-Link, and I think there were at least 2 or 3 people at every table who raised their hand, and so that speaks volumes to the brand being recognized. But what's not necessarily recognized, or where it's not recognized, is it relates to the business that our resellers, SMCORP partners are providing to their end user, our mutual customers. And it's a reason for that, because since the company started, they were prominent in the home space, and they're diversifying, and I'll go a little bit more into that. But as it relates to TP-Link and where we're from, they're based in China, several large manufacturing facilities, research and development, and engineering. And I make mention of that because as we talk about today's economics and today's supply chain constraints. Why is this relevant? Why is kind of showcasing where we're located? Where TP-Link is located, especially here in Canada. Well, I make mention this morning, and I'll do so again this afternoon, which is unlike some of our competitors in the marketplace who solely or exclusively work with distribution, which we also do. We support and work with distribution partners, and we value their service and support. But we supplement, inventory and supply chain management with our owned warehouse in Toronto, in Ontario. And, that may not necessarily be a value add in a lot of cases in certain times, but when you look at the last year and a half, and when you look at the next 6 months to a year, and you think about supply chain, I think about 2 things. I want to deliver on customers' expectations, and I want to deliver on inventory that is required for certain deployments. And so we've seen a significant growth in industry in our field in certain verticals where it relates to our commercial business because of inventory management and availability. And so because of the relationships we have with the manufacturers in China, which is where TP-Link is based, we're able to align ourselves better with those manufacturers, whereby our constraint issues are mitigated or minimized. And so with the warehouse that we have, in conjunction with those of our distribution partners, we have great stock position across all our lines and products. And if we don't, we're in a great position to work and collaborate with the manufacturers to get that product as fast as possible. I mean, I'll be honest with you, most of our partners know, even if we don't have anything stocked in Canada, either our facilities or distribution partners, we're getting them between 6 and 8 weeks. And so when we're approached with opportunities from our competitors, for a mixed bag of reasons, whether it be technical, whether it be, availability, these are some of the areas that we're able to help out in. And again, here's just another prize and an award that the TP-Link has received as far as recognition for customer satisfaction in the router space. And when we talk about availability, we have fantastic availability on routers. This speaks to the customer service, the support, both technical and the security features that our portfolio has. I'm not going to take you through this one by one, but we have some fantastic large customers across different verticals, different spaces, government, education, retail, ISPs. So certainly when you think of the TP-Link organization, there's a lot that comes to mind. It did when I joined the organization. But if you take a look at this screenshot of all these customers, we have a vast array of products in our portfolio that can satisfy not only their internal needs, but of course their customers. And this includes, routing, switching, managed services that they're doing for their customers. So we have an offering, I think, that will fit for most of our customers and partners.
Yeah, how are these partners? How easy recognizable?
It's pretty impressive, given that from a commercial standpoint, in very little time, they have these logos, which are all defined as net new, and these are logos that probably have a mixed environment of infrastructure, and that's fine. But certainly when it speaks to product and the fit within these environments, it speaks volumes.
It's a good fit.
So I'm not going to go through one by one each one of these milestones, but in 1996, the company was created by two brothers in China, headquartered in China. Some fantastic milestones, launching the first switch, first switch product. The one I'm going to focus in on for the next couple of minutes before we get to the back half of the presentation is really around the Omada portfolio, which launched last year in Q2. The Omada portfolio is our SDN software-defined networking solution. So while we're not unique in the marketplace, while we're not the first one in the marketplace, we certainly are not going to be last in the marketplace. Customers are looking for options, and they're doing so at a larger, more broader scale than before. I think COVID's changed a lot, the way we work. The resources, and if you look at Canada as a whole, we're based out in Quebec, but as Canada as a whole, we're defined as a country that's largely comprised of SMB. So any of the SMCORP partners that are supporting customers, our mutual customers, they're probably defined in that SMB space. It's not to say that our solutions are not fitted, as you saw in the previous slide, with the logos of customers that we have. But it is geared towards that space. And so when I think about Omada and addressing the why, I think about the fit in the SMB space, where they don't have as many resources, technical, or the abilities to set up and manage certain types of networking environments. They're looking for a great total cost of ownership. They're looking for limited to no monthly recurring costs. They're looking for great support and something that's going to be addressed should there be any issues. And so this really kind of encompasses the SDN portfolio and why it's a good fit for Canada. So if you toggle to the next slide, this really highlights the Omada portfolio and kind of what it looks like today. And so the portfolio that makes up our software-defined solution, Hugo, is comprised of controllers, on-prem, off-prem. So we're talking about a hardware, software controller. The software can be loaded on a server. And the hardware controllers, there's two variations. I'll get to it momentarily. We have a mixed bag of access points. So we're not just limited to indoor APs, we have outdoor access points, we have wall-mounted access points, which speaks to a certain vertical that we are prominent and growing in, that being hospitality and multi-dwelling units. We also have switches, both managed, unmanaged, PoE, and we're releasing those switches. I'll call out a few of those momentarily. And I'll identify the price points, right? I don't often like to bring up costs, but when customers in today's age are looking for availability and great total cost of ownership, given the amount of limited resources and the way that we're all working, it's a fantastic fit. So we toggle to the next slide. As mentioned, there are two variations of the cloud controller. You have the software, which again can be loaded on a server. The Omada controller hardware is on-prem. There's two variations. One is sub 100 and one is sub 500. So again, when you talk about the SMB environment, when you talk about fairly large environments, I think these two controllers who have fantastic price points, are plug and play, easy to operate, easy to manage, is a fit for our mutual customers. We have the ability, I'll get to it momentarily in some of the program benefits, to demonstrate these products to yourselves and of course to your customers. So as we look at the Omada portfolio as it relates to the access points, we have a mixed bag and a growing mixed bag. We have net new access points like the 620 and the 660, which are recently released, and our Wi-Fi 6 products. So when you talk about throughput, when you talk about bandwidth, limited constraint and speeds, you think about Wi-Fi 6. But we have a vast portfolio of products, indoor and outdoor. When I think about Canada and some of the unique infrastructures that we are supporting, there's a lot of outdoor environments, as mentioned, prominent in the MDU space, multi-dwelling units. So that really means any establishments that are housing numerous unique families or members or individuals. And so when I think of MDU, it's not just limited to retirement homes. We're talking, school boards, educations, facilities where, students are residing. We're talking about hospitals. We're talking about hotels. And so, of course, that was impacted by COVID, but there's an uptick in demand and they're looking at new ways to do business in cost-effective ways. And that doesn't just mean the acquisition costs. It's manageability, it's deployments, the resources managing those infrastructures. And so huge demand in that vertical. And so when I look at the portfolio, we have a very unique fit across all these types of environments. So as it relates to the two specific access points in question, the 660 and the 620, which are recently released, again, I'm calling out the price points here. We have fantastic acquisition costs. What's noted here is simply the list price. All our partners will have probably established long ago relationships with distribution, that being Synex, Ingram, Tech Data, which is now a part of Synex, D&H, ASI, Long Tech as examples.
You are everywhere.
We're everywhere. So, this MSRP, this list price is really just that, a list price. So without discounting afforded to our partners, you can look at the aggressive nature of these products. And again, there are no recurring costs to these types of environments. And so I'll get to some tools available to a partner momentarily, but this is a great solution for entities looking for options. And I come from the networking space, and I can tell you, customers are always looking for options. If you look at the vendor, the OEM that owns the marketplace from a networking perspective, we all know who that is. For years there has been a demand or just an expectation to just keep paying and keep doing what you're doing. And there are other vendors on the marketplace offering similar products and different and similar solutions. But as far as availability, as far as ease of management, total cost of ownership, and limiting recurring costs, these are fantastic fits. Toggle to the next slide. I just wanted to highlight a few switches that are net new to our portfolio. The 300AF TLSX 300F. This is I flabbergast because when I entered networking years and years ago, we were talking about fully managed layer 2 switching. We were talking about gigabyte switching. We were talking about SFP and 10 gig uplinks. And the cost at the time was enormous. I mean, it's like anything hitting the marketplace. And you take a look at this list price, you're looking at $300 for a 8-port 10 gig switch, which is unique and of course fully managed, part of our Omada solution.
So it's better price, better product.
Better price again, and I don't want to harp on the price, but when you think about holistically managing certain environments, networking is an important layer in an on-premise environment. Naturally, you're going to have your servers, you're going to have other infrastructure, you have your storage, data protection, you name it. If one can simplify a lot of that and centrally manage a lot of that, from a single pane of glass, I think that's a unique story to tell. And again, it's not that we're doing this and we're new to the market doing that. We are new to the market doing this, but we're not introducing something, a new technology. When you can do this with a certain level of predictability and affordability, it speaks volumes, especially as it relates to our customers all having, unique business requirements because of COVID and other, right? So if you're going to look at this, the next, switch here, this is a higher run rate SKU. This is a huge demand for this SKU, 28-port switch, fully layer 2 managed switch, PoE plus, so you have great power supply. So, as customers look to diversify, as you look to power a lot of the infrastructure, peripheral infrastructure, whether it be voice over IP phones, cameras, security management, things like that, these switches are a fantastic fit with the enhanced power features. So, with the high level product, having touched upon that, I just wanted to spend a few minutes on the programs and benefits. So if you want to kind of toggle down to the next slide, thank you, Hugo. I do want to mention deal registration. So I've identified some unique price points, but those are list price. So as our partners work with distribution, that price will have already been discounted, right? So we do for distribution a discount, which is in turn passed on to distribution reselling partners like yourselves on the phone and watching today. We do have the capacity as a registered partner to provide you incremental discounts through what we refer to as a special pricing agreement. So a few other unique things about TP-Link and pricing. As compared to some other competitors in the marketplace, there's a velocity of your business. You need pricing, and they need pricing now. And so we're able to execute on a special pricing request in mere hours. I never want to overpromise and underdeliver. Quite the opposite. I want to underdeliver and kind of overpromise. Underpromise and overdeliver. That sounded good. I was mixing it up. Yeah. But truthfully, we can get this out in a few hours. Certainly in a 24-hour period. So that speaks volumes to the velocity of our partner's business. And we require some basic information and user quantity SKUs, and with that we have the ability to protect you for 60 days in that special pricing agreement, which is shared with distribution and passed on to you. Should there ever be a unique circumstance, and it would have to be very unique, where you've lost a deal where you have a special pricing agreement in place, we would in fact protect you with that. We would reward you with some revenues. Because of that lost opportunity. We don't want to do that. A special pricing agreement, a deal reg, does provide price protection, even against some of the big box outlets out there. We are very cognizant of that. We ensure that we provide the most aggressive price points when we're affording those. And so they're in place for 60 days. They're renewable quite easily, provided that deal is still open with the customer. This is one tool I want to spend 2 minutes on, and if there's one takeaway from today, it's really around this. So as customers get, more unique in nature, as they're moving to different type of physical environments, growing, as these physical environments do differ from basic offices in downtown core to rural entities to warehouses that have cement walls, and physical environments range everywhere. Yeah. And, one thing that I realized years and years and years ago, when I first got into this industry, was, well, when you plug in, an access point, when you expect certain results, that can be impeded largely by the physical environment, the amount of people that's connecting to the room, the type of information that they're using, what they're using it for, and the physical environment dictates, the topology of the networking environment. And so often our customers need help with that, and they're going to look to our resellers. And so resellers that are listening, that are thinking about how can they include this in maybe some services, their managed services, certain statements of work that they're doing for their customers. This is something that you should keep in your back pocket. This is an absolute free tool. You initiate it if you kind of toggle to the next slide, online with some very basic information.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that we will drop the presentation in the internet, so all of the link you will be able to click on it. So,
Perfect. So you initiate the link, you fill out the next information. The next sheet is kind of the next slide is kind of an example of what you have to fill in. The most important thing is once this is submitted, make sure you are attaching, a physical floor plan, either PDF or AutoCAD. Our technical team will then assess the demand, assess the requirement, the request. They will establish a line of sight with the reseller and/or customer to plan to get a better idea of the physical environments and what they're doing. And we will actually produce a bill of materials. We will provide a topology of that networking infrastructure. And so I've rarely seen this used. And in my years of experience, something like this is generally a customized statement of work for a specific customer that entails certain man hours, going on site, going out with certain tools and resources. And we're able to kind of address that, not all the time remotely, but a majority of time in these environments remotely. And this is a huge value add. So I invite anybody listening on the phone today to keep that in their back pocket. This is something that you can build into your service offering to your customer, whether it be managed services or pre-sales consulting. This is something that you should absolutely leverage. It is no additional charge. And if the deal is complicated enough, is big enough, we will actually go there on site. As far as partner programs, so Partner Advantage, much like our competitors, much like other vendors in the marketplace, we are not unique in the fact that we reward growth to our partners. So entities that are registered, that are selling less than $10,000, outside of perhaps the technical resources and sales resources and the ability to submit for pricing, there's not a whole heck of a lot else to it, right? Where it really starts to get interesting from a resourcing and benefits perspective is when you start selling, generally speaking, $10,000 more per quarter, and these numbers here are per quarter.
Yeah.
And so it's not per month. It's a very big. It's a big point I want to make. But historically, entities that are selling between $10,000 and $20,000 have the ability to earn 4% rebate on the back end. And so that's, you submit for a claim based on performance, and we issue that rebate. So from a overall margin and profitability perspective, resellers can come out extremely well. Gold and platinum are identified at 6 and 8% respectively for the back end. I want to make mention of this. If you kind of toggle to the next slide. So that's a fantastic, pretty aggressive discounts for certain revenue thresholds that, depending on the vendor and depending on the reseller, you may be doing this with your eyes shut on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, depending on what you're doing and who you're selling to. But I just want to call out here now that it launched in July to the end of our calendar year, December 31st. We will be providing 4% rebate on the back end for anything $3,000 or more. So when I think about a $3,000 opportunity or revenue threshold in a quarter, that is a small, customer deployment. That's a small wireless deployment, a handful of switches. So I invite any partners here that are interested to learn more, reach out to me, yourself, to learn a little bit more, but it's a very aggressive rebate, one that can certainly provide a certain level of profitability to yourselves. Over and above pricing and resourcing, we have other tools and resources such as demos available to our partners and customers, proof of concepts, infrastructure that can be bought at established discounted pricing at no additional charge, that can be sent out to customers. Again, not unique in the marketplace, but when you talk about availability and, customers that want to see, look, and feel and touch it, infrastructure before they buy, we're talking about infrastructure and gear that they can not only buy, but they can get and test right away. So that's a fantastic tool. Toggle to the next slide. And what is also very unique about, the organization itself is when you look at as resources, you talk about resources. We have resources supporting the country, largely from Toronto, that are English and French. When you talk about, living in Quebec and you talk about French-speaking resources, often at times they're pressing a bunch of numbers on the telephone and they're reaching somebody in India that, it's hard to understand on a good day. And no offense to anybody, it's just the realities of the situation. In Canada, we have, both English and French technical and sales resources available to our partners that can be engaged over the phone through email aliases We have fantastic support, lifetime warranty, a limited lifetime warranty across a lot of our commercial products, which I've discussed today, and very aggressive 2-year warranties. And once the product goes end of life, I've heard some of our competitors, oh, it's got end of life, we're not supporting it. We will support it for a period of 5 years.
Perfect.
So I'll just finish with this. Once again, thank you, Hugo, for your time today. Thank you to all of you listening today on the phone. I appreciate your time. We're looking for partners. We're looking for partners to grow with, and I invite any and all of you to reach out and have those conversations. Good luck selling and stay safe and be healthy.